it. He knows what I'm gonna ask. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the City of Charlestown Sanitary Sewer Board meeting. It's November 17th, 2022, 10 a.m. We will begin as customary, rise and state our pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Let the record show that all members are here. Brian Hoskins, Nathan Grimes, Mary Hodges, Clerk Treasurer Donna Coomer is also present. We have our agenda before us. Entertain a motion to approve.
Make that motion.
Have a motion from Nathan Grimes. Have a second from Ryan Hoskins. Any additions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Approved. Unanimously, we've got our minutes from the regular session on November 3rd and the executive session from November 3rd, our current claims and our payroll allowance docket from October 30th to November 12th. Entertain a motion to approve.
Make that motion.
I have a motion from Nathan Grimes.
I'll let you all do that. I wasn't here for the minutes.
Okay, I will second myself. I was here. Any questions, edits? Nathan, do you see anything?
I did not.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's approved unanimously. I don't think we have anybody signed up for public comment. We have no old business. Moving on to new business. Jump right into our wastewater treatment plant operator report. Tim?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have before you today, I did take the liberty to pass out. I didn't unfortunately get it to Jenny in time to get it in your packages. The October summary. As you breeze through it, you will see that all permit parameters were met for the month of October with no SSOs. We did not have an opportunity to get any to transport any solids out, and I'll kind of get back to that in a moment. But overall, the facility performed very well as it's been doing for a few months now. I'm very pleased to report that. If you go to the second page on the collection system that we've started drafting for the last couple of meetings, it gives you some of the specifics that we've done, that we do during the month, such as locates, tap inspections. There were a total of 3 rain events, which was less than usual for the month of October. We did realize 2 events at 1 1/4 inches with no SSOs. Again, the total for the month was 2.9. Moving down the list, you will see that as far as the flushing of the system, again, there was only 475 feet, and I do say that as again, but there's a reason for that I will be getting into. We're going to struggle with that for a while. We did not have an opportunity to get out and televise any lines, which we really need to start picking that up. So, is there any questions on any of that information? I do have some more stuff to present to the board, but I want to make sure if there's any questions with that, I'd be glad to answer it at this point.
I have no.
Okay. Well, on down your report, it comes to two tables, which I'm going to make reference to here in just a moment. Some of the other highlights during the month, I'm pleased to report today that after receiving approval from the board on the Ziptility, which is the GIS system, we launched that this week. We are using it. We've already ourselves made modifications to that. Very user-friendly. Be happy to sit down with any of you at any time and show you what's going on, how it works. Very simplistic. I had a meeting with the River Ridge Commerce Center yesterday, and we'll try to import their information into our system. Mark Hildebrand was very receptive to that. So we're going to be working on that. I spoke with Tony Jackson this morning. There's a layer that he uses that actually has the plats for each individual property. We're going to try to get that imported as well if possible. Ziptility did reach out to Dorothea, and right now, if I had it up, and again, I'll be glad to show you this, once you pull it up, it shows each individual property, the owner and or resident that lives at that property, and a contact number to reach them if necessary. That's going to play big for us. And then as we're continuing training on Ziptility will be conducted over the next 5 or 6 weeks. We usually meet on Wednesdays with Ziptility, so we're not proficient in it yet, but we are using it, and it's very exciting. So I wanted to bring that to the board today. Moving down my list that you don't have, one of the other topics I want to talk about is training for the staff. December is going to be dedicated to, we're going to try to do some fall protection training. I've ordered some minor equipment to address that. I'll give you a larger update on that. We're going to try to schedule electrical maintenance training. This was supposed to happen last month, but the trainer broke his leg and was not able to do that, so we're trying to reschedule that, which actually is a segue into what I would like to talk about next. Is we're struggling right now a little bit with staffing level at the plant. To be very candid, having enough individuals to do the things that we need to do to improve the deficiencies and the things that we know need to be going on. So one of the things that I would like to talk to the board about today and request is maybe an addition of a couple of people. I mean, with the PMP that is submitted and we're expecting it back any day, then there's going to be milestones associated with that. In order to achieve those milestones and be on top of what the regulators are expecting from us, it's not a request, it's an expectation, we're going to have to gear up a little bit, to be very honest. And I know it's probably not the most opportune time to be asking for this type of request. So if you'll refer back to the second page of your report that I have, I'll be referencing the tables that are there. These two tables are associated with a providing service vendor that we have right now. In the year 2020 and the year 2021 is the two you have in front of you. I haven't done 2022 yet. I expect it to be less, but maybe not substantially. All of the man hours that are in each of these tables are man hours that I have supporting documentation with me that I'd be glad to, again, share with anyone. But those man hours are man hours that I think that we can do in-house with the right qualified person. And what that amounts to in 2020, if you'll refer to your table, is for 339 man hours during that month, tasks were performed out in the system specifically that cost the city a total of $32,377.40. Now, if you look over going down the list, that hourly cost breaks out for the 339 hours that were paid for during that month at a cost of $95.51 per hour. That's not bad. I'll be the first one to admit that's not a bad rate for service. But here's where it gets really concerning for me. Like I said, that the service provider provided 339 man hours of work. We know that there is 2,080 man hours a year that a person can work. That leaves a remaining 1,741 hours that if we had another person, we could utilize doing other things. So in conjunction with that, for the year 2021, the hourly cost went up, as everything does, but still there was left 1,828 hours that we could have used another additional person to perform things like preventing flushing, televising, and things associated with our agreed order. So, I mean, I think some justification, I feel this is justification to make the request for additional staff members. I would entertain any questions that you may have based on the information that I presented today.
Do you have any questions for Tim?
Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
So, knowing that Tim was needing extra staff, because he and I have chatted extensively about this, I asked our clerk treasurer's office and human resources to look at the numbers and say, okay, realistically, what are we looking at? Can we even do this? Because wanting and needing and not being able to fund all go hand in hand. If you've been paying attention, which I know you have very good board members, to the revenue versus the expenses on the operating budget in the reports we get every time we meet. You'll see that it's off. Our revenue is not keeping up with our expenses. So I took Tuesday, and with the help of Deborah Miles in the clerk treasurer's office, which shout out to Deborah, she spent a lot of time with me working on this, and I thanked her profusely for it. Tuesday, we spent and took a deep dive into the finances from 2021 and 2022, specifically from the time that the sewer board created the capacity fee fund. I think it's important to understand where the utility has been, Tim. I don't like saying no, and this is a long way around of saying that I'm not comfortable right now, but I want you to understand why.
Okay.
And I want the board to understand why as well. So, or at least my perspective of what I've witnessed. So, prior to the creation of this board, and then prior to creation of that separating of those fees, all of the revenue from tap fees and from revenue, monthly, rate revenue, went into one fund. And so if there was a month where revenue wasn't great, it could be supplemented in a way by the tap fees that we might get. And the tap fees are not consistent, the revenue is. But the tap fees usually come in a larger portion, a larger number, especially when there's an apartment complex that's being built or a developer is building a certain number of houses. We get this kind of influx for that. Now, granted, for a healthy utility, I 100% support having those funds separated. And the ordinance that we have, that the council passed, that set up the capacity fee fund, allows for the maintenance and expansion of that capacity. And that's a key component, maintenance and expansion. And we've had our legal counsel look into this before, and they've said, yes, when it deals with maintenance of either the collection system or the wastewater plant, that counts, because it's all part of capacity. Within that capacity fund, there are also two sub-breakdowns. There's one for capital investment, so anytime we add something new to the system, that becomes an asset, and then there's repair and maintenance. And then all the other operational stuff goes into the section where the rate revenue comes in monthly and is supposed to cover that. Those are your repeating costs. So I went through from August when we created the capacity fee fund in 2021 all the way through what is current year 2022, and Tim and I have met about this and had these conversations as well. And what we discovered, and I mean, when I say deep dive, we went deep dive. We actually pulled the original invoices as well from these dates to say, what was this being spent on? Because I had a feeling that under prior management with contractors and operators, that perhaps some of the things that were being charged to the operating fund really should have been coming out of that capacity fund, and I was correct. We looked back and we pulled every invoice that dealt with repair of our capacity of our system, or adding new pumps, or any type of new equipment at the plant, and we did all of that and reconciled it. And what has resulted from that is that $430,000, $430,676.77 to be specific, was charged out of operations and should have been charged out of capacity. So Deborah and I have gone through the process with Donna being involved as well in oversight to reconcile that. We followed the procedure to reconcile that. So on your next report, you will see that shift in balance on those two funds to reflect that. Then I wanted to know, okay, now that the operation budget is more in a healthy state, what are we actually spending then on operations? So I had my assistant Jenny sit down with me yesterday, and we took an even deeper dive into the detailed appropriation from that year and a half-ish period to look at what the actual operating expenses were. The average monthly operating expenses. This includes everything that's related to payroll, supply ordering, chemicals, the stuff that doesn't go directly into capacity. Comes out to about $150,000 a month. When I look back at our revenues, I'm seeing some months are healthier than others. So I did just kind of a 6-month review of our revenues from the reports that I had on hand. October, for instance, was 142,000, September 146, August was a good month, 161. Anywhere from 120 up to 160 is where that ranges every month. Okay. So while we are closer to that, we still need to be more mindful of spending. So based on those numbers and based on needing to save money within the department and operations, in order to fulfill Tim's needs as director, I also made a couple of of decisions. I asked our attorney not to come unless he absolutely has to. Legal expenses are a major expense. And of course we want good legal representation, and we have that. But for many of our meetings, there's just no reason to pay an hourly rate for an attorney to be present when we're just doing general business. He's happy to provide information and legal opinion through email or whatever, and anytime we're doing anything bigger than just, I mean, today we just had operating reports. There's no point in paying a legal representation to come, and that's a cost savings that we can begin moving forward. And he agreed, and he also said that he would begin using Matt Duncan more in the office, which is at a lower rate, billable rate, to help us out. He's very sensitive to that, wants to help us out. I also talked to our engineering firm, talked to JTL, talked to Mike Harris yesterday, and verified that, for instance, Jim Haggerty is with us today, verified that when they come to these meetings, they're not charging us for these meetings. They're not charging us for their presence at the meetings. They're only billing hourly for the projects that they are directly related to, where they're doing design or those types of things. So those are two ways that we're going to, at least, in the future, begin to save and cut back on spending in the department. In order to help with this, because it's incredibly important to me that this department function as efficiently as possible. We've done so much, and I'll be very upfront and say that I was hesitant to have the creation of a sewer board. I was very public about that, and this is one of the reasons that I was concerned. Not because I doubt the expertise of the members on our board, you've both been fantastic, but because of the cost. And I knew that as a utility that was growing and trying to repair, we weren't financially ready for this. Before the sewer board, we had finally gotten on the positive side of things, and I don't want to lose that momentum. And so for that reason, I think these cost savings will help. Tim and I have talked extensively, and he's going to work with Deborah on making sure that any future capacity charges go to that capacity fund to manage the operation fund better. But also, I'm no longer going to take a salary related to my participation on this board, so that those cost savings, I'm statutorily obligated to be the chair of this board, but I'm not statutorily required to take a compensation for it. And so I'm going to no longer take a compensation because I want to save as much as possible from this. I think we need a few months though, Tim. I know you need the staff, and I hear you, and I'm eager to hear you. If the board members have other feedback, that's great. But I think we need a few months of this cost-saving protocol to see if we can't get those revenues in a healthier place. Because I absolutely, 100% do not support another rate increase.
Right.
It's fundamental. We cannot do that to our payers right now. We've worked very hard to get money coming in for the build of the plant to avoid that. And I think that we can manage the finances a little more strictly and get you there. But because I know you need staff coverage right now, especially coming into this time period right now, I'm happy to talk to our other staff that know the plant system to see if they would be willing. And I've talked to Donna about this as well. We have at least one other employee that knows the sewer system, and I'm happy to talk to that employee about coming over and providing a little bit of relief on a part-time basis, splitting those duties for you, because I know you need it. But I need you to give, it's my opinion that we should take a few months and see where this revenue goes by following this new plan and try to see if we can't get it into a healthier state. I don't want us to come out where revenues are not keeping up with what we need to spend. So that's...
I hear you fully understand, appreciate it. I can assure you that we'll continue to pursue programs like energy efficiency, try to get a better handle maybe on the chemical budget, because it is a big tax on our budget. I am going to be spending some time with Donna and her staff on better understanding the budget from my standpoint to help make sure that things are appropriated correctly. And yes, Mary, you're 100% correct. It's a situation where, with our current staff, that I'm concerned that we are asking them to do a lot. They are doing a lot. And they honestly have not said one thing to me about it. But I don't want it to get to that point.
Sure.
And that's another one of the reasons why I'm here asking today. Appreciate what you said, we'll continue on, and just look for direction from you, and we'll go from there. I mean, I did, unfortunately, I'd be remiss if I didn't say this, we have heavily vetted one person that would have been able to do, and if not eliminate, substantially eliminate this cost right here. But again, I understand. So we will take the board's decision. We'll move on and keep doing what we can do.
So I think if I understand what he said from his thing, that this is money that's been spent anyway because it's contractor insured. So it would be, I don't know if that comes out of a different.
No, it is part of the,
Funding.
so that's a part of the operating budget, yes.
Right. So I don't know if that's I don't know what a employee cost with their benefits, you know, if you're paying the guy $25,000 a year, it's not, it includes benefits, I don't know what the package
Right.
is.
Absolutely.
It's what, about like 30?
I think the difference is around 30%,
30%,
30-35%.
that's
I don't
right,
know,
about
Beverly,
right.
and I don't know.
Do you know offhand, Heather?
Put your time
We,
on the spot.
I've got that on my desk, I could go get it.
We calculated it, and depending on the benefits that the employee would take, because that makes a huge difference.
Sure.
I think the minimum would be about 70,000 a year, and the maximum would be somewhere around 100,000 with the salary and benefits.
Do you remember what hourly rate you kind of figured that out
I
at?
think we did it at the max of
You
25.
did it at the max,
I think
just in
so,
case, okay.
yes. So anything below that would, of course, decrease that figure.
I mean, I would love to be able to get him at least one person, especially since we have someone that's in the pipeline that has these skills, because it's that balance between, we know we have to take care of this utility.
Right.
We know that we have to televise these, it's part of our preventive maintenance plan, we have to do these things. I'm concerned that there were no lines televised this month, but I also understand why. I know you did not have the staff to do it.
And if this helps, and I'll make this, and I'm sincerely making this offer, we're slated for 5% increases in our salaries this year. I will forego my 5% towards a new employee if that's possible. That's how badly I believe that we need another employee. Take that for what you want, but that offer is there.
That's a lot, Tim.
So the other side of that is the employee that's off on medical leave, is he's still off and gonna be off for a long time, still forever, or you know that status?
It's temporary for now. We obviously want to hold space. That's why I've offered in the interim to have our other staff member come and help provide some relief with that situation. But, you know, this would be a new hire
Right.
regardless from that. So
Right.
this would be a completely
It'll
new
be
position.
new and additional, yes.
Yeah, aside from that. So it would actually what he's asking for is to bring the department from a staff of 4, including himself, to a staff of 5.
Yes.
Actually, I think he wants 6, but
I would
We're
like
doing good to
have
get
6.
5 right
I
now,
would take
so-
5.
trying to keep it real. So that's where we are right now.
Well, I mean, let me ask another stupid question. Could you take a motion to approve that pending we get this thing and that gives you the right to do it when that time comes?
You could, yeah, you could do it to where, you know, we're assuming that the finances, that,
Yeah,
you know,
assuming
you could
the
authorize me to make the hiring, assuming.
When
assuming
appropriate
finances,
finances.
yeah, when the finances
I mean,
show that it's possible.
that way it's already taken care of when that time comes, if it's a month or 2 months, I don't know if the person
Yep.
you're talking about is available, would wait 2 months, that's another piece of the
Yeah,
puzzle.
that's a piece of the puzzle for sure.
Right.
I mean, you are allowed to do that, obviously, I'm not going to authorize any kind of
Sure,
hiring
right,
until the
right.
money's there,
Right,
because
right.
I
And we-
understand where we are.
And we trust you to do that, that's why I'm saying that would take a delay from
Sure,
coming to a sewer board meeting off of the table, and it gives you the right to manage the people, and he knows there's someone coming possibly when things are
right,
scheduled correctly. I mean, obviously the funding is important.
that's entirely up to the board.
I'll make a motion to approve an additional person for the sewer board to fulfill those duties we need when the money's correct and when the time's right, basically, for
a future position when the
So we have a motion to approve a new position pending adequate funding.
I think we need to look at that when it comes through. I think it's kind of an open blanket, in my opinion.
Okay.
I mean, that's what this board's for, is to sit down and look at the funds as it's coming through. I think we need to look at this, every other week and see where we're at and see if we can really sustain that, is my opinion.
Fair enough. We can take a look and see how things go over the next couple of weeks. I think our next meeting is scheduled for the 8th of December. See what the revenues were this month, where we are with that, and let that settle and take a look at the fund.
That would be my opinion.
Okay. The motion currently fails, and that's, we'll just take a deeper dive into it.
Okay.
All
I
right.
appreciate your time.
No, thank you,
Thanks,
Tim.
Tim.
Appreciate
All right.
it. Looks good.
Jim, are you giving us an engineering report
Yeah,
today?
yeah. We don't have Jim Haggerty with Jacoby Tubes Land. Don't have a lot to update today. We did, on some good news, we did receive the approval letter from IDEM to go to the alternate discharge location. So we're gonna implement that part of the design.
Oh, great.
At this point. We're looking at some other value engineering options on that. The only caveat, that isn't the NPDS permit that allows you to discharge. That still will have to go through a 30-day notice period, public notice period. But that's usually at the end of the project. They won't, you're supposed to submit the NPDS 6 months before end of construction. But we did get new effluent limits from that. The only big change, we do have ammonia limits, which are a little tighter, but the design had already accounted for that. That's kind of, we do that as part of the design. We got full nitrification. We do have a 6.0 milligram per liter DO requirement to go into a smaller stream, and we'll implement that. We're looking at some options to minimize those costs for doing that. Even it has a big drop, and we're looking like at a cascade air rate or something that is non-mechanical to do that.
Great.
We're still on track to submit 100% permit drawings to the state, and then at that point, we'll monitor their comments and get with them on a date to advertise and get back with you for advertising that. I did, we have the front end documents, the contract documents for legal review. I brought a copy, I didn't know Bo was here, not gonna be here. We also have some plats for Indiana Americans, new connection for their new green sand filters, and we'll get them transmitted over to Bo.
Yeah, even though he's not here, you can certainly
Yeah.
send all of that to him, and he is perfectly happy to review
Yeah,
those
yeah,
through that.
yeah.
It's just, and it's not that he won't ever come to a meeting, obviously, it's just that when we have these lower,
Mhm. Oh, I understand,
standard business meetings.
With that, I didn't know if there's anybody else in the city that needs to review from a risk management standpoint, the contract documents. If there is somebody else, we'll be glad to give them a copy, so
Usually
just let us know
I'll
on
check
that.
with Donna to make sure that any insurance or anything issues through Donna would be, just make sure you
Oh,
check
with
with her.
insurance,
yeah.
because there is insurance requirements. So I'll send you, Donna, the supplementary conditions which define the insurance requirements, building risk, general liability, all those types of things, and you can review it and tell us where you want to be with that.
Thank you.
The only other thing, I think, on IDEM, as far as the agreed order, the quarterly report is due to IDEM on 12/16. I think we have a draft to you. And then once we get comments, we'll get that ready to go. But I think that's about it, unless y'all have any other questions.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that the outfall is
Yeah.
approved. That's very good news.
Yes.
Is that part of the anti-degradation?
Yeah, that's part of the
That's great. That's gonna be such a
anti-degradation.
huge energy saver, Tim. for-
Oh, yeah.
That's,
Yeah, that's a huge energy saver. It's probably $1 million in construction. Oh, and the other thing is, we have provided a contractor, and we're going to reach out to a second contractor with our 90% design drawings for them to take a look at them from the standpoint of value engineering try to, they're gonna give us some costs for structure, site, yard piping type things. They're not gonna deal with electrical and mechanical equipment. We got all those quotes, but they're gonna give us some feedback on the cost so we can kind of validate our cost opinion too.
Great.
So that should come, it'll be a few weeks, because all these contractors are pretty busy right now. But we have reached out to them, and they're willing to give us an opinion of cost and value engineering ideas on ways to reduce construction costs. So
Awesome. Thank you, Jim.
with that, thank you very much.
Thank you. Regarding cost savings, I also want to remind the board that when it comes to legal expenses, getting this started is going to be more than, I mean, that, you have to look at everything we have accomplished over the last year and the challenges that we had to face with the agreed order and, you know, getting this plant off the ground, those kinds of things. So the legal bills were higher than they will be on a consistent basis because of those issues and those, you know. The good news is, there are some rather large legal bills that had come through related to those things, to some of those things that we will be able to reimburse the department from when we issue our bond to build the sewer plant. The council passed a resolution enabling that to happen, and when that happens, there will be some reimbursement that occurs there. So I do believe that the strains that we're feeling financially are temporary. I do believe that we will get there. It just is going to require us to have a little bit more concentrated awareness of what's happening. And I just wanted to, the two biggest expenses are always going to be engineering and legal when you have something like this. And so I wanted to make sure that we were being very, very careful with that. We have great engineers and we have a great legal team. We just have to be aware. So just, Tim is aware of that too. And so where meetings don't require those, he's not just calling them out of a security blanket type situation. He's stepping into it. And so, but at any time if you need a review of something, obviously our legal team is still active and available. So. Any updates from the board or questions? Kyle, you got everything signed? Do we need to take it down? Yes, Tim.
I overlooked one thing that I didn't put in the packet that I do want to expand on. Based on a request by Mr. Grimes in a previous meeting on a previous topic, I have put in your packets this time. This is the monthly report of operations that is sent to the regulators each month by permit requirements. As much as anything, it gives Mr. Grimes and the board a background of where my summary numbers come from. But over and beyond that, I think it's good that I supply this to the board, specifically to the clerk treasurer's office, because this is a required document that the city is required to keep 3 years, which we have, but we're required to keep 3 years of this document and these results on file and available for review by the regulators anytime that they come in. And I don't know if that's been done in the past or not. Like I said, we do have it at the wastewater treatment plant, but if something with catastrophic were to happen there, it doesn't hurt to have it somewhere else as
Okay.
well.
Yeah. I'd like to
So,
have
but
it
I
with our
wanted to just
security,
let you
because
know
we have
that's what that
secure
was.
things here. Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
That's it. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. If there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a motion from Ryan Hawkins.
Second.
Second by Nathan Grimes. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
See you in a couple weeks.
Are we gonna meet here, Tim, or?
We'll see you then.
For the